All right, party people in the place to be, vandals, and all you pulp oddities out there. This is a brand new episode of How Did We Get Here? And Joe, it's your turn.
Yeah, man. So this episode of How Did We Get Here is brought to you by Power Pulp. We don't fit in, we stand out. So go to powerpulpcomics.com to get some awesome indie comics. And Power Pulp also has a Discord now, so you can go sign up to their Discord and hang out and chat with the indie comic lovers, creators, share your art, talk about the process, tools you use, anything. They've got a bunch of different categories, so you can go hang out and talk with the folks over at Power Pulp and just comic fans in general.
Right.
We also would like to take care of a little bit of business that's real quick. Is for our the second giveaway we did for the Power Pulp. Cookie won the second giveaway, which would be the two derelict issues. So she won that. So congrats, Cookie. She'll love the when comes the night story.
When the night comes, yeah. I think.
When the night comes, yeah, she'll love that one. There's some 80s movies references in there that I know she'll love. So,
and it's a toxic love story. So
yeah, she's a big fan of toxic love stories. So yeah, so there we go. That's all the business we have for today.
Right. And tonight we are welcoming back a good friend of the show to promote his new Kickstarter. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Hey, everybody. I'm Hans Fink. My humble imprint is Fink Ink Comics, and we're releasing our first anthology, Pulp Oddities. It's got a lot of great stuff in it. A lot of great artists, too. There's the cover by Earl Black. Goddamn, he's so good. He is such a good artist.
Yeah, I really enjoy his stuff. I'm actually was sad last month that his little anthology book didn't fucking fund. I was really bummed out by that.
It didn't?
No, and he said he was going to launch it around Halloween. So,
man, I'm really surprised because, I mean, everything he does looks so good. That's kind of a shocker.
Right. And I was going to get a copy of Super Cult and Ethos. I had those back as well as add-ons, and I was kind of bummed out because I guess I could hit him up to get those, but yeah. But yeah, your book.
Sell them on his website. You could get them off VantageComics.com.
Cool. But yeah, we got the link for your book in the description, and I just dropped it in the chat for people listening. If they haven't checked it out yet, I can't recommend this book highly enough. Joe and we got a preview. I think we got one full story and a good look at what all the rest of them are. And yeah, dude, this is a fun anthology, man. All the way around. And the art just sings in all of it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was a big point of pride for me. I wanted the book to look really good, and I wanted the stories to be really entertaining and engaging. I want to be able to look back on this 10, 20 years from now and be like, oh yeah, dude. So, this isn't a thing where I had an open call where anyone could apply. This is more I curated the talent. I had an idea of what kind of stories I wanted and what I was looking for, and so I actively either selected artists that I already knew or looked for artists who could fit the style and tone that I wanted. So it's a curated book.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I did give you guys a pretty big preview, but I don't think I gave you any complete stories. Just the first few pages of each story.
Oh, I thought we got the whole WTF Wolf. It seemed to have a pretty solid end, at least.
That one seemed like it ended on so okay. Oh, and speaking of that story,
there's a third page after that. I think I sent you guys just the first two pages, so there's a twist and then there's another twist.
Okay.
Got you.
Yeah.
And speaking of that story, Zigzag, man, you either send money Hans's way, or send him like a year's supply of zigzags or something for dropping that in the book. It's free advertisement for them. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. It was like, yeah, dude needs papers. But yeah, they have kind of like a Red Method Man moment, like in How High, where one dude had weed and no papers, and the other dude had papers and no weed, so they became friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's another twist behind that. There's a weird secret that What the Fuck Wolf hides, and it's it's a lot of fun. And Austin Ackert, the artist that draws it, that guy is so cool. Like, he's not just a good artist; he's a cool dude. I met him and Jevin Lube at the same time at the Arizona Comic Arts Festival. Had a little random pop-up in downtown Phoenix, so I went just to network and tell people about Pulp Oddities. At the time, I only had a few stories done, but I just wanted to see if I could find talent, maybe spread the word. And I met both Jevin and Austin that same night. And Austin was just so cool. We vibed right away. He was like, "Oh, your name's Fink, like the rat Fink." And we started talking about Ed Big Daddy Roth and that whole explosion of lowbrow art that existed around the racing culture back in the day. And I don't know, we just hit it up, and I knew I had to work with this guy. I didn't have the right story in mind yet, but when I finally came up with the idea of What the Fuck Wolf, I was like, well, I think Austin's probably the right guy to reach out to for this. And yeah, he was on board, so that was cool. And then Jevin, who I met at that same thing, he's the guy that draws Floggle Snorkeldork. You can see the Snorkeldork cover there on, which way? My left. Yeah. So, and then he also did the player select poster, and I think so he has 2 Floggle Snorkeldork features that we got him to do. I hired him to do one in Pulp Oddities. And then, if you remember Dave LeCompte, my buddy from The Vein, we co-owned the rights to Floggle Snorkeldork Space Attorney together. So he commissioned Jevin to make a full 24-page digest-sized comic. So there's a 5.5 by 8.5 comic of Floggle Snorkeldork, the Space Attorney, in his own adventure, where you get to meet his crew, like the people that he works with on the daily. And it's pretty cool. You could buy that as an add-on with Pulp Oddities. So just a bonus thing that you can get.
Yeah, and I think that was also available with The Vein. Anyone who backed The Vein, right? That same story as a mini comic, because you guys had a bunch of add-ons for mini comics with The Vein as well. Yeah.
Those were, and that was because technically Floggle Snorkeldork is in universe with The Vein. Technically, it all started with that silly, goofy ad that we made for the first issue.
Yeah, that's true.
I just made. Yeah, it was just a one-off joke. It wasn't even meant to pick up steam, but people started messaging Dave like, "Hey, we want more Space Attorney." So we made a Space Attorney comic. It's out there; you can get it.
Yeah,
Speaking of ads, this book's got some hilarious ones. The one that made me just outright laugh is the Nom Nomicon cookbook.
Oh yeah, dude! Oh yeah, that's my favorite. I love that one. I actually wanted to make an actual cookbook. That was that, but I'm like, it was going to be an endeavor. I'm going to at least just make an ad for it for now, and then maybe we'll get around to making a cookbook later.
Yeah, it's a good one. Blunder. There's the other dating app. What was it?
There's 3. There's Plenty of Freaks.
Plenty of Freaks. Yeah.
And then there was the least lethal dating app that was right before Killer
Hookup. That's it. Hookup,
yeah. And it's got like the cross hooks that make a heart.
Yeah, from slasher movies and stuff. Yeah.
I was thinking exactly of what I know what you did last summer when I was designing that logo for Hookup dating app. And that one actually ties in directly to a horror story. It's a slasher story written by Drew Hansen, the guy who makes Mega Bitch, and drawn by an Italian artist named Dungeon Rat. And then drawn by an Italian artist named Niccolo Arcudi. And if I butchered your name, Niccolo, please forgive me. I've never heard you pronounce it, but he's a damn good artist. And the premise of that, it ties directly into the Hookup dating app. It's 2 serial killers meet each other on a dating app, and they don't know the other is a serial killer, but they match. Yeah. And so they meet. Yeah, that's the one, Lady Killer. And so you don't really know like who's targeting who. on that first page, you can see something's being put in someone's drink, but you don't know who's doing what to who, type of thing. And it just kind of unravels and gets really messy from there. So that was a really fun story. When Drew pitched the idea to me of serial killers meeting on a dating app, I laughed my ass off. I'm like, oh, I got to do it. We got to do it.
Yeah.
There's like a few dating app ads in there, and I thought that the hookup one, the color scheme of it perfectly matches the color scheme of the story itself. So that's just kind of a visual cue that of the dating app ads, this is the one that they probably met on. The one that's supposed to be the safest.
I'm trying to pull up the page here. The profile. Where is it?
Left-handed man thriving in a right-handed world. Yeah.
No, but I forget the name. What's her name?
The Polonista.
Yeah, her profile page there, where it describes like her and all her likes and stuff. Yeah, I'm like, damn, she'd be a good match for me, because what is it? Her likes, like, for movies and stuff. It's like, yeah, and she loves The Notebook, and I actually like The Notebook. I don't think it's a bad movie. So that made me laugh when I saw that. Yeah, I like that, the little dating profile for her. Yeah.
Oh no, but what that's modeled off of is the Playboy profiles, the Playboy centerfold profiles.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah,
that's why you have the dimensions on the top there, like the bust, hips, and
yeah, exactly. So it's modeled exactly after the like Playboy would have these centerfolds, and then the very last page would be a profile sheet like that where they talk about their turn-ons and turn-offs, and I want to be an actress and I love my besties, whatever. I hate mean people, but I like nice people. Like, okay, yeah, sure. But it's funny to me that those profiles do read exactly like dating profiles. Not that I've dated recently. I've been married for like 10 years. But prior to meeting my wife, and we did meet online, by the way. I think we met on OkCupid, actually. But yeah, prior to meeting my wife, I had to see all these dating profiles, and it was all the same thing. Oh, I hate drama. Oh, I love to laugh. Oh, I like to hang out with my friends. Like, oh, really? Wow. Like, no shit. That really makes you stand out. Like, most people hate humor and hate their friends, so that's weird.
Yeah, that's it. No, it was cool. I thought I got a good laugh from that last little part. All these horror movies, and then like end it with a Notebook.
I had to put that in there. The Notebook is a romantic movie.
Yeah, all the stories in this have a good like sense of humor, right? It has a little twist. Everything has a little lightheartedness to it, like a nice little touch of humor that really makes the story fun.
I would say that's fair. I would say that's fair. Like, some of the stories are more blatantly humorous than others, whereas others, there's more at stake, but there's still just that little bit of levity that keeps you from being like totally like totally serious.
Yeah. What's the I forget the name of all the stories. The space vampire.
Yeah.
My God.
That one's awesome.
And his hat is like the funny part, really. Kind of reminds me of Al from Quantum Leap.
Yeah. Vampire detective from outer space. That's a great story. I like that one so far. I love that panel with the knife.
Yeah.
That's a great panel.
Dude, okay. The guy that draws that is David T. Cabrera, and oh my God, he is so good. He nailed this. I had no idea who he was when I commissioned him to draw this. After he had already turned in all the pages and stuff, I looked him up, because I was trying to see, like his Instagram profile doesn't really give a lot away. It doesn't say a whole lot about him. Just shows some of his art. And you're like, okay, that's some good art. But when I looked up his name and did some deep diving, like he drew Vampirella, he drew Red Sonja, he drew the Bionic Woman and $6 Million Man comic adaptations. Like, he's good. He's really good. And when I saw his character designs for Vampire Detective, I felt like he just reached into my imagination and pulled it straight out. It was uncanny when he sent me the first few character sketches. But he is a damn fine artist. And that page with the knife that you were just referencing, you're right. He nailed it. When I read Bobby's script, I wasn't sure how the artist was going to pull it off. And then when David turned in that page, I was like, okay, that's how. That's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. I that was one of my favorites. One that I really enjoyed, and I think, well, we only got a little taste of it, was the couple. One can see the ghost, and the other one can interact.
Oh, the Gruffs.
Yeah, the Gruffs. Yeah, that one's fun because I find the concept of it could lead to like some really interesting scenarios, right? Like Johnny was saying, the laser pointer is kind of funny, where so he knows where to go. Anyway, I'm sure that could lead to a lot of funny like odd scenarios that would be pretty fun and interesting. So I like that. Just the concept of that I thought was really interesting and fun. Yeah.
Thank you, man. We it was still in production when I sent it to you, but all the pages are done except for the final page. That one's actually a 7-page story, so I'm touching up page 7 right now. But all the textures and dialogue and everything is there. The only thing that's waiting is it's already flatted. I just have to put on make the sexy paint texture. Because with a lot of my style, I think as a colorist, I use a lot of halftones, and I love messing around with halftones and overlapping layers and stuff like that. And I thought, well, I need to show that I can, I'm not just a one-trick pony. I can do more than that. So with that story, I wanted to go with a more painterly look. Excuse me. So we used, I used more of a watercolor look for it.
Yeah.
And Clinton Massey, the guy that draws it, we had a good back and forth where we were trying to nail in the look, and the way he uses inks and then splits the face so that I could do one side no paint and the other side painted, like that. I just love that that whole look, how it's totally different from the rest of the book, but it still kind of fits in its own weird way.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like all the stories, like it really like shows your variety as a colorist, man. Because like none of them are textured the same way. All most of the stories actually have a definitive look. Whereas like I really like this one, and it almost has 100 bullets, like by Rizzo. I don't know I forget who colored that, but yeah, it's gorgeous. And then you got the kind of
story, yeah.
Kind of old schooly type color with like this one. I love this story too, with the rock that tells you what you want the most, what's interpreting it for them. And then you got kind of like
that was the first story we actually finished. There's the very first story that we finished. I got someone to write a script for me that was really funny. Then Louis Santamarina, who I worked with on the Vein, he's done stuff for David too. He did like a poster, and he did the Veins Day comic. He draws that one, and he was one of the first people I reached out to just because I knew he would be on board. He's just down like that. He's a cool guy, and he turns it like I like working with Louis. He's got a consistent style, so as long as you can work with his style, like there's no story you can't tell with that guy. Like I feel like I could tell a lot of different stories using his art style, but he's just a friendly guy, super nice dude, super professional, and he turns in his work quick, man. Like he is fast.
So that's the artist. That's the artist that did the Veins Day little shorts. Yeah. Okay, got you.
He did the Veins Day, and then he also worked for Scout Comics. I think he did a title called Benigno, and then he's an artist on a Smoke and Blues comic that's coming out. So he's a busy little dude, but he's good. He's solid. He's reliable. R.L. Black also has a story inside there called Moonland. Yeah, and that one's pretty funny. That was one of the first scripts I wrote. I actually wasn't going to put Moonland in the anthology. It was just something I wrote just to amuse myself, but I kept thinking about it and kept thinking every time I'd go back and reread it, I'm like, this is funny. It's going.
Why does he explain everything that he's doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, you're reading like old Spider-Man. He is like, oh, my spider senses are tingling, and he's like saying all this stuff out loud, and you're like, it made sense. Yeah. But like seeing it pointed out like in a spoof comic, it's kind of funny, and I've never even seen anybody like kind of like call out that kind of old school superhero type thing where they'd be like, oh, and I'll use my Moondar or Boomerang or whatever it was called. Yeah.
You know what inspired the story, honestly, was so obviously we've all read comics and we've seen that trope everywhere. But I was doing research, reading these old school pulp comics from before, like after the war, but before the code type of thing. So you'd have like horror, sci-fi, Western, war, you know, all these different genres of pulp comic. And one of them was this hero named Moon Girl. And she was doing the exact same thing. Luckily I have a telepathic connection with my moon rocket and I can steer it with my brain. Luckily I have this moon device and this gadget. Thanks to my training as this and that, I can flip around, you know. And she's narrating what she does every panel. I'm like, oh my God. And I understand that the real reason for that is, okay, so back in the day, it's not like there was a solid distribution model for comics. It was, you would go to your local shop and either they would have the next issue or they wouldn't. So you weren't guaranteed serialization. So the writers would have to like explain the characters' power sets in some way. They'd have to expedite every single issue, even if it was part of an arc. But I thought it was hilarious. So I made up Moon Lad as an homage to Moon Girl. And, I just thought like, wouldn't it be, well, it's kind of sad really what the reasoning is, but it's basically a trauma response, but the comic goes deeper into that as he gets more and more engaged in his narrating the battle. I do want to go back to the Gruffs real quick. That's an interesting story to me because I had to find the right look for it. This story is unique in the sense that the way I came up with it. The other stories, like they all just kind of come from me writing around or messing around or reading something and wanting to make fun of it. But the Gruffs was something where I dreamed a fucked up scenario, and the dream was it was a ghost dream. It was a very ghost and poltergeist oriented dream, but it was also kind of sappy and romantic too, like The Notebook. So, and I was traveling. I was out of town on business. So I called my wife up the next morning and I told her about the dream. I don't normally remember my dreams at all. Like I dream and then I forget about it. So I was surprised that I remember it because I had to write it.
No, they say people who smoke weed can't remember their dreams.
Really?
That's one of the side effects of smoking weed. Yeah. Let's say you quit smoking weed for a month or two, you'll probably remember all your dreams.
I couldn't remember when I was a kid, and like, my body know I was going to be a pothead when I grew up? Is that what you're trying to say, Joseph?
Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah. Continue.
That's all right. I'm going to think about that now. I'm like, let's see. I'll do an experiment, man. I'll take some time off and see if I remember my dreams. See what happens. So, but yeah, well, that would actually make sense because I had to go to Texas where it's not a weed-friendly state, and so I wasn't smoking at the time. And I'm like,
there you go. So you remembered it.
That does make sense. Yeah. And I called my wife. I told her about the dream, and she said, "That's really good. You need to write it down and make a story out of it." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Maybe I will." I'm pretty impressionable like that. So I made a story out of it. It took me a while to get it dialed in right, but it happened. And that's the same thing with the script too. I wanted because I wanted to stay true to the core vibe and emotion of the dream, but I also needed to make sense to readers. And dreams, if I was very literal, it wouldn't make sense. But if I got the core concept and vibe down, then made it, then reinterpreted in a way that made sense to a casual reader that's not living in my head.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting thing, and it's probably the only rom-com in the whole anthology. Nothing else in there is really all that romantic.
The other thing that's interesting about that one too is because it's a couple and they have to find a way to work together, right, to make it work. So it's kind of, it kind of speaks on relationships, right? Like where,
he has to
you got to work at it for it to be successful, right? So they got to find a way to work together to make it successful. Like not one person can do the job on their own. It's not up just one person in the couple to carry that couple. Like you both have to work at it if you want to have a successful relationship. And I find that you kind of get that message with one can see and the other one can interact. So they really have to work as a unit, to really make this successful for them. And I really got that. That's why I really enjoyed that kind of concept and everything too. It goes a little deeper than just, they have these supernatural powers, yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you saw that. That's actually a really good point. Like if they ever, get toxic in the relationship and divorce, they're not going to be a very effective at ghost fighting.
No, probably not. No, they'll be like, no, they're not over your shoulder. There, divorce, no need for a divorce anymore. I'm a widow, or I'm a,
Right. Jeez.
yeah.
But yeah,
No,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, there isn't a dud in this. Like, out of all the ones you sent us, like Johnny and I were talking before. Sometimes anthologies you can get, like we said, some real gems, but then you can get a few stories, like one or two that you're like, and that's the one thing about anthologies. I'm always like reluctant a little bit because there's always like one or two creators that I'm really into, right? So I'm like, oh, I'll get it. And then you read it, and like for those one, like two or three maybe creators, but then you got maybe a dozen stories, right? So then you're not really sure what you're getting with the rest. And I was really happy with all the stories that you sent us. I thought they were all good. They all stood on their own, like really.
I wanted full comics of them.
Yeah, and they're all quite different from one another too, so you get a nice variety. It doesn't seem redundant or repetitive either, so you really get a nice variety. Did we talk about the therapist, supernatural therapist robot? He tries to help the demons and ghosts to move on or whatever. Yeah.
And some spirits, unfortunately, they choose violence. So Reishi is an interesting story too. I feel like I was going through this phase where I was my wife and I were studying Japanese folklore, but also my wife, I'll be working in my office and I can overhear the shows she watches. She watches a lot of ghost hunting shows or shows about monsters or whatever. And I always thought these ghost hunting YouTube channels were hokey as fuck. I mean, these guys go out there, with little phone. It's like, oh my god, oh my god, and it's like, dude, you're not proving anything. You guys are doing it for views. You need it to be real. You need it to be at least questionable so that you can have the engagement. There's no authenticity to it. And I thought, like, well, what if someone did make the technology that actually could detect ghosts, though? What if that technology existed and it could tell actual supernatural activity apart from coincidences? Like, okay, the robot can hear a sound and be like, okay, the sound was caused by the air temperature and humidity and the salt structure, and so the wood made this creaking sound, and it's not actual supernatural activity. And that's why Reishi has all these drawings around them. And on the Reishi comic itself, you'll see, like, on the far side, most of the action is centered in the middle of the panel, but off to the side of the panel, you'll see all this data and numbers.
The analysis,
and it's shot entirely from the perspective of his drones. So every panel is a drone shot, basically.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that with the info on the sides and stuff. It really gives it that kind of that feel, that cybernetic kind of it's
and I love the way Horatio Boreati drew this Oni right here, the big red Oni. That's just like, no, I choose violence. I don't want peace. Stop trying to be peaceful with me.
Yeah. That's definitely the more superhero-y kind of vibe book. So I think the artist's choice for that or whatever is perfect too, because he has that more like superhero vibe, like the way he drew it and everything too. So that's pretty cool.
Horacio's really good at drawing robots and mechanical things. When I started talking to him, and because I needed to, the Reishi story was a little frustrating. So there's a Reishi poster in there, an ad that it looks really good. It was drawn by an artist named Yuki Kiriyawan, but for reasons Yuki had to pull out, and I was really disappointed because he's a great artist, but he had to pull out. And I had to scramble to find a replacement artist. So I at least got, that really great looking drawing of Reishi with his drones for the ad, and that kind of helped us solidify the character design. So so at least we got that great piece of art from Yuki. Looks really great. And then Horatio, when I was looking at his portfolio, I noticed he's just really good at drawing mechanical things. And the thing about Reishi is I need someone who can draw really good mechanical things, but also really good monsters. And I feel like that's a hard combo to find. Like, some people are better at drawing like robots and tanks and mech, and some people maybe aren't quite as good at that, but they draw really great monsters. Horatio could do both. His tech looks really good, and his monsters look really convincing. So he was an easy choice. Once we started talking and I saw his work, I was like, okay, I need to make it work with this guy.
Yeah.
and your coloring on here, like it's another really cool example because it's like kind of a contemporary looking coloring. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a modern comic,
Yeah.
which is it's neat, man. Like I was saying, I love just seeing like the variety of coloring you can do. You know what I mean? Like it's cool that you're not a you're kind of like the
Thank
artist
you.
you're talking about. You're multifaceted, and you actually draw a story in this one too, which I really like seeing your drawing. You did Milady,
Oh,
right?
thanks. So this story is done by Kerry Callan
Okay.
of Mad Magazine. Yeah. The Freedom and Nothingness. I did draw the pictures for her profile, and also the picture of her on the table of contents with her eating the lollipop. That is my art, but the one that you just showed right now, the sequential page where she's lopping off heads, and that is Kerry Callan. That guy is awesome, man. He did the Reishi variant cover, so that's variant cover B, and then you've probably seen his work online. He's drawn a lot of his take on a lot of Silver Age comics. There's a popular one of his that's circulating around online where Superman and Wonder Woman are they're getting shot at, and Superman's just letting the bullets bounce off his chest, but Wonder Woman is blocking the bullets with her bracelets.
With her bracelets, yeah.
And he's like, why do you block with your bracelets? Like, you don't need to use your bracelets to block. So she just like, okay, I'll show you why. She puts her hands down, and her boobs start jiggling every time the bullets hit them, and she just sits there looking at things. And then you just see all the gun, like all the bullets jiggling her boobs, and she's looking more and more annoyed, and you just kind of like like from the shooters, and Superman's like, okay, I get it why. That's the kind of humor Kerry Callan has. That's a popular one that I've seen floating all over the internet. Another popular thing you've probably seen from him is he did a really great drawing that I've seen all over the place of a zombie that's sad because he got a balloon, but the balloon's floating away with his arm. That's that zombie. So plus he's got some creator-owned stuff that's really good, and on top of his several Silver Age superhero homages, like I said, that dude works for Mad Magazine. I mean, he's the top-notch cartoonist, man. I absolutely loved working with him. I was just tickled that. Okay, so you know what's funny? When I approached Kerry Callan, I was like, "Hey, man, like, would you draw this for me?" He's like, "Okay, but I'll only draw it if the script is funny enough. Otherwise, I'm not interested. It's got to be funny." So I sent him the script, and I didn't hear from him for a long time. And I was like, "Oh my god,
He didn't like
I
it.
thought my script was funny." Yeah. Like, what's wrong with him? Like, what the hell? And then like at some point later, he randomly emails me and he goes, "Dude, I'm so sorry. Your message ended up in the spam folder somehow. Your script's hilarious. Let's do this."
Okay. Yeah. The silence is worse than a positive or negative response, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd rather hear a person
Like,
say yes or no than nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh man, Kerry Callan, like one of my heroes, he fucking hates my script. Oh man, oh well, it's not funny enough. Oh well, like I'll find someone else. But man, and then like just for that email to come to like, so sorry, went to my spam folder. It's hilarious. Let's do it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's some validation, man.
So Matt's in the chat saying, let's talk about that variant cover. I'm not sure which one. I could guess which one I think you're talking about. You're probably talking about the James Edward Clark.
Oh yeah,
because that's Matt King. Yeah, Mr. Megatrip himself. Yeah, so I'm assuming he's referring to that variant cover. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
By James Edward Clark.
I knew that I needed to get James Edward Clark in there somehow. His interior page rate is stupid high though compared to like my actual budget. So I was just like, man, I want to pay JEC what he's worth, but I can't for interior pages. But maybe he'll do a cover. So I hit him up for the cover, and we made that happen. He was totally down. Great dude, and just man, he nailed that. Like that cover looks so sexy. I love it.
Let's go over all Let's do a roundup of all the covers. Let's go through them all there, Johnny.
Okay. All right. So this one is a James Edward Clark cover. Oh, you want to talk about the Reishi cover now, or which one do you want to talk about?
Or let's do them all. I think there's 4 or 5 different covers.
Three covers. The main cover is by R.L. Black. And then,
that's great cover as well. Love that cover. You got all the characters in there with the that tentacle monster. I don't know. I don't think we saw that monster in the story yet, have we?
No, there's no tentacle monster there. We just did that for the cover.
Just for the cover, but it's a great action cover. Yeah.
We were so RL and I went back and forth on a few ideas. He did a draft that had a bunch of chains in the background, had hellfire instead of octopus arms or tentacles, and in the end, we settled on Kirby Crackle and tentacles.
Yeah, tentacles. I mean, that fits the theme, right? It has that kind of Lovecraftian feel to it. I think it's perfect. Right.
Yeah,
it definitely has like that monster. And octopus and space kind of goes well together too a little bit, I don't know. It's a great choice. I love that cover. That's
your horror
fantastic.
With your sci-fi. You got Lady Midday, aka the Polonista, there front and center. Your vampire detective, Roddy the robot.
It all fits.
What the fuck, and the space attorney.
It feels like they could be like a team, right? Like like an oddball, like space team, like kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy style type thing, and just go on space adventures.
If I did have any two stories from this anthology crossover, it would be Reishi and the Gruffs. Just because the Gruffs are it's a very Western approach to ghost busting. Hey, let's go find the ghost and punch him, And then Reishi is a lot more. It's very Japanese. They're very respectful of the spirits of the dead. It's important culturally and spiritually. It's two completely different approaches to ghost busting. So I think it would be interesting if those two got their own series and then later on teamed up in the future. But this is. We'll see how the anthology does first, which characters are the most popular, and then I might focus on whoever has the most demand. But shoot, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, to the James Edward Clark cover. I thought it'd be fun to have, more Moonlad punching the snake people. Just because there's a scene where this happens inside the anthology where it's a flashback where Moonlad is fighting clowns and then he's fighting snake people and he's fighting all these weird looking villains. And the way R.L. Black drew that panel just cracked me up so hard, man. He brought a lot of humor to that, which I didn't know he had in him, because I always think of R.L. Black as the spooky horror artist, but he definitely got the humorous tone of my comic and even added some things of his own.
But it's cool because he has a little bit of that throwback style too, right? So it fits that kind of that 50s, like you said, 50s, early 60s style, perfectly for that story.
Yeah. With the halftone printing and the kind of very pulpy look to it. Yeah. So I just thought it would be cool to have James Edward Clark's take of Moonlad punching a snake person.
Yeah.
And then he added kind of like the old EC comics, the circle heads, the three circles
with the different characters for the stories. Yeah. That's classic.
Yeah, so,
kind of layout. After that, Johnny,
third cover is what's his name? The guy we were talking about, Kerry Kellen, the guy who did Lady
with the robot with Rishi on it, right?
Yeah.
So
we thought it would be funny if he has all these yokai surrounding him, her looking super menacing, and he's just politely offering them tea. So
I love the design of it, and I love the design of the head where it's almost like an giant eyeball.
Yeah,
I like that. I don't know. I have something about design those round shapes, like when we were talking with
Josh Makis.
Yeah, with his that character had a helmet with it gave me 8-ball vibes. Hey, Cookie, you won the giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you won it. We spun the wheel earlier this afternoon, Johnny and I, and it landed on you.
There was another book that came out recently with a really cool robot like that, Ghost Cage by Nick Dragotta. It was a 3-shot.
Oh yes.
Put out was really neat with a kind of old style robot like that with a really cool.
Nick Dragotta is such a good artist, man. I love his style.
Yeah.
Mr. Absolute now.
Yeah.
Absolute Batman. That's so solid.
I
like this work on East and West too. That was really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's where I think that's the first thing I saw him on was
East and West. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost Cage is cool because it's him in black and white. I love seeing You know, even though he's a digital artist, like in black and white, his shit.
Well, he's switched to traditional now that he's on Batman.
And that big
Really?
chunk of
His rep called him up and he's like, "Listen, I know it's quicker for you to work digitally, but this is Batman, and if you want to retire, do original pages with Batman. You can retire off that, selling those original pages." So he started doing like all the absolute Batman is all traditionally done.
So
Nice,
this one's
dude.
got a cover. Like I love this.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's just that's an art print. So that image, I designed it for the table of contents. Like I put actually, this anthology has a lot of magazine layout aesthetics to it. So I created a 2-page table of contents like you would see in a proper music magazine or GQ or Max, some shit like that. But it looks so good that I decided to add as a art print to all backers within the first 48 hours. So everyone that backed in the first 48 hours is getting that art print with Lady Midday on it. And then also, obviously, everyone got a discount since it's early bird special. So y'all got extra money off in an art print that no one else is going to have.
That'd make a rad T-shirt too, or
It's beautiful, man. Like it kind of reminds me of like in the early 2000s, there was like all those neon heavy metal T-shirts that were coming out for like all the deathcore bands and shit. It's got that kind of aesthetic to it.
Yeah,
but they're going like neon instead of the traditional death metal covers.
Yeah,
colors. I mean, jeez. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making that. The Lady Midday design, in traditional lore, she's described as either a young woman or an old woman that could change her form. But I thought, like, what if I just gave her, a static, consistent, iconic form for the sake of a comic, since it's a visual medium. So we thought it would be fun to make her, the inverted skull where she has a dark skull with all the like stuff popping around it. Like Kirby crap.
It works. I love that design. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And then it's also probably tied into the fact that she could turn herself into a cloud of dust. So she manifested this cloud of dust, but I guess in this case it's mystical black dust or whatever.
Yeah. But it's cool. I love it.
And it's pretty funny too when she deals with the businessman. She asks him, he's like, "You're not supposed to be here. You got to leave." Wrong.
Yeah. That's great. So, and then you have the. Is the other one actually going to be a cover too, or is that reserved for the mini comic?
Which one?
This one here that's on the side there, the snorkel.
Pulp Oddities, with Ratio. Yeah, no, that's the third cover, and then for the Florgal Snowboard Space Attorney, that's its own thing. That's the mini comic cover.
That's the mini comic cover. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, he's got his own mini comic, and that in of itself is pretty is a lot of fun. Florgal Snowboard is one of those characters that now that it's gotten some notoriety, I wanted to take off more, just because. When I was trying to come up with that story, I actually came up with like a whole season arc that could happen with that characters, and there's all these other adventures that I'd like to take them on now that I understand the characters better. So there's a part of me that really helps it takes off. Plus, I do want to sell out when it comes to Florgal. I want that to become like a HBO or a Netflix show, and I want them to cast like a really handsome actor who has to wear all that shit on his face so you can't see that he's handsome. And he just walked around like, "I'm Florgal Snowboard." I just think that would be fun as fuck if they got like Ryan Gosling or someone like that that's like, like an attractive actor, but you can't really see that he's attractive because he's got like pointy ears and a tentacle mouth and all this stuff. And he's blue. That just cracked me up in of itself. But yeah, I do want to make that big so I could tell more stories with it, just because his world and his supporting cast is so interesting. You don't really meet the supporting cast in Pulp Oddities, because with that I take more of a like Vice magazine trying to interview above their intellect type of approach to it. Where you have like kind of a guy with a frat boy mindset trying to interview this space attorney, and Fargo's getting more and more irritated as the interview goes on. But you learn about space law and his universe and some of his adversaries through that interview. But you don't really get to meet his supporting cast unless you get the mini comic, which is
an add-on for the campaign.
Yeah. And then another add-on is, of course, and this is already printed. Some of the stuff, some of my add-ons are already printed. I'm going to print more as I go, but got the Fluggle Snowbledork sticker set. That's him with his band. He's got a little rock band that he jams out with, but he's also got his sister Noreen here, that is adopted sister, that kind of runs like the security and PR. Plura, who runs his, she's the office manager, and then you got Mike. He was like the weirdest looking guy, but I don't know what the camera's showing right now, but I'm probably just like, here's some fucking stickers. But yeah, you can get the sticker. You can get the sticker set as an add-on too.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah,
and I'm probably gonna just print bookmarks next and slowly start. I want to try and get this out as fast as I can. I am going to expect delays, and I'm telling everyone that you're going to receive it like January of 2026. But my actual goal is to, on the slide, get this out before Christmas to everybody. Yeah, because I mean, I've been on both sides of the fence. I've backed a lot of Kickstarters, and it's frustrating when I'm waiting like a year after the Kickstarter funded to get the thing. But at the same time, like I've also helped Dave with his campaigns, and I understand that delays can happen in production and stuff. So I have some of the add-ons printed right now, and some of the other stuff I'm going to just like quietly print behind the scenes before the campaign closes, just so it's ready to go. And then once Kickstarter gives me the money, all I have to do is really just print the big stuff, which is the comics. And maybe that poster.
Well, and you told us out there you're in a pretty good space for it. You're about you got around 90% done, 95% done. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I would say we're closing in pretty quickly. We're closing in on the finish line pretty quickly. I have like 2 more fake ads to make, and then there's 2 stories that are in production right now, and it's the last 2 stories. One of them is being drawn by Austin Ackert, who drew the What the Fuck Wolf. That's the story that opens it, and then I wanted to have a small, like just a short little body horror story to close it out, involving some gross body horror stuff, but in Austin style. So that's going to close out the book. And then you guys saw the preview for the Appalachian Code. I'm finalizing that one right now. But it's a little bit different because everything I'm drawing for it is kind of like in that mid-century children's book style. Okay. It's about a haunted manuscript. So in the lore of the universe, like in the 50s, 60s era of children's books, there's this beloved couple, Abner and Bernice Borton, and they get commissioned to make this book with their friend Ted Merkel, who grew up in the Appalachian Mountains, and he thought it would be great to make a child's book about the Appalachian Code, which is will have cute art, and it'll have lessons like don't whistle in the woods, or if you hear someone call your name in the woods, don't follow it, type of thing. Blah blah blah. But is this narrative? So the images are all like books or all pictures from this manuscript that never got published because it's haunted, it's cursed. Everyone that worked on it has died or had a horrible accident. And so it's written like a true crime article with a supernatural twist, where it's like I'm writing from the perspective of a fictional journalist named Hampton Finley, who is investigating the mystery of this cursed artifact that has all this urban lore around it. And it was supposed to be a children's book, but it's just a manuscript out there that's, a mostly complete manuscript that's out there, but no one wants to publish it because everyone that worked on it had something horrible happen to them. And it was, at first I just wanted to make like some pages and put it in there, but the story behind it just kind of manifested. I don't know how. I think I just started writing down ideas, and I thought, oh, this is a lot of fun. So it's a little ambitious. It's not a comic, it's more of a magazine article, but it's image heavy magazine article featuring prominently images of this so-called cursed artifact. And that's cool. one of the stories in the back of the book.
Cool. There's a couple stories we haven't mentioned yet, really talked about yet. There's this one, I kind of popped it up earlier. I love the art on it. How did you make this guy?
Bryce. Yeah. So there's 2 creators involved. John O. Burke, he writes a comic called The Routine that you may or may not have heard of. It's pretty funny. And it's pretty good. It's basically like the day in the life of these henchmen, who are just like trying to make it in the world. So it's kind of like The Office with a Venture Brothers vibe to it. And I'm not sure how I met the guy. I'm pretty sure I met him through mutual friends. We have this little group on Instagram called Comic Creators Anonymous, where a bunch of us get together and try to help each other out, you know. And I think I met John and Dungeon Rat through that. And John, he sent me a script that he did for a totally different obscure monster. It's an Iraqi monster called the Limassou. And it was just a 2-page story that he wrote about it, but it was really good. And I thought, okay, this is the guy who I want to write the Lugaroo story. So I chose him to write the Lugaroo story. And the way I heard about the Lugaroo was, I mentioned earlier, I can overhear when my wife watches her videos about monsters and horror stories and stuff. And the Lugaroo is one of the monsters she learned about. But tying deeper into that, you know, she's been on a genealogical journey, and she's been tracing her heritage back to Barbados and the Caribbean islands. So some of her people are from the Caribbean islands, and I don't think she's Haitian. I think she's more Barbadian. But the Haitian monster of the Lugaroo, like the Caribbean lore, started to come up a lot in video rotation. And the Lugaroo is basically, to my limited understanding, a witch that can turn into a werewolf or a cat. But it's a limited witch. Like, I don't want to say subhuman, but like I think there's lore like it can't count above a certain number for some reason. So you do certain things to confuse it. Because if it has to count above a certain number, then it gets confused and fucks off. I don't know how that piece of lore came up, and I don't know enough about it. Yes, I didn't include that in the story, but we do know that it can turn into a cat or it can turn into a werewolf. And so there's, you know, people from that area that are a little more superstitious or a little more wary of cats for that reason. And in this story, you get to see the Lugaroo in both its cat and werewolf forms, which is pretty great.
Well, in French, that's what a werewolf is called, is a loup-garou.
Yeah. And
it's not written. It isn't written the same way. It's written loup-garou because L-O-U-P is wolf. So in French, but it's the same pronunciation, but it's just not written the same way. Yeah.
Correct, because the French colonized that area. But yeah, I remember Le Pack de Loup, the Brotherhood of the Wolf. That was a great film, the French film. But yeah, so yeah, the Lugaroo does, you're right, the etymology of that does have French origins for sure. And then for the artist, I knew that Bryce would be a good fit for it just because like his art is so like, if you saw the black and white pages that Bryce turned into me, I almost didn't want to color them just because all that texture, all the halftone and scratchiness, that's him. He added the texture on this one. His black and white pages were just a vibe by themselves, and I was like, oh man, you know, I got to come up with a good palette then to you know, make it pop. You know, I can't, you know, I got to be on my A game for this one. And it was actually kind of easy to come up with the palette because I had that story commissioned at the same time that I had the slasher story, the lady killer story commissioned. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make one a cool palette and the other one a hot palette. And there's a lot of optical illusions, especially in the lady killer. There's no warm colors in there, not really. There's red, but that's it. The pink that you think you're seeing, the flesh tones, those are just like muted blues or muted purples. Yeah. Her blonde hair is a muted green. Her flesh tone, their flesh tone, you know, they look like Caucasians. You know, that's just a muted blue. Her pink sweater, that's just a muted purple. And it looks like they're hot colors because they're surrounded by all these blues and cyans and stuff like that. Yeah. Versus this one, on Lugaroo, all the colors are deliberately warm colors. You know, there's oranges and hot pinks and things like that. And the only cool color you see is on the Lugaroo. The kind of purplish blue that I used to color its fur, and the highlights of the fur. Yeah. So its fur and eyes are the only cool colors, and that's just to give you the visual cue that this thing is a little different from everything. Different else. From
everything else in the environment. Yeah. You know what? That style, like the style of the drawings, the illustrations, and everything, makes me think of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Archie one? It's a dark fucking story, man. Like you think Sabrina is like, but that one, the Chilling Adventures from Archie, that what is it? Sook is the artist, I think.
Oh man, I got it on my bookshelf behind me. I'd have to go over and get it.
I think it's Sook the artist, but he has this dark style, and the story in that is super dark.
The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check that out.
I would have never thought a Sabrina story would be, but it's dark.
It's fucked up.
Well,
It's fucked up.
they made Afterlife with Archie, and that was properly dark too, with Francisco Francavilla.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one where Sabrina resurrects Jughead's dog, and the dog comes back and bites everyone and causes a zombie outbreak.
Okay, yeah, but this
So
one
they've
is
got
really,
dark with Archie before.
this one is really dark. And,
Yeah, no,
it's disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disturbing.
If you're-
Even. Okay,
Oh yeah, it's like I can't remember. Is there incest in it? I can't remember. But yeah, it's. I mean, it's dark. It goes to dark places. I mean,
Brutal.
yeah.
Yeah, the ending is so messed up, man. Like, it's great. Like, I wouldn't expect it from an Archie book.
No, I was totally taken by surprise. Like,
because everybody told me to read, and I'm like, dude, like I saw Sabrina when I was in junior high, and like,
and it's with Archie comics. You're like, eh. But,
I forgot about the Sabrina show. Is that the one where like Phil Hartman was the voice of the cat?
Yeah, Phil Hartman and what's her name? Clarissa Explains It All was Sabrina.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's
funny.
They really flipped the script, like totally gave you something you wouldn't expect from not only that publisher but also that character, you know? Yeah.
We got this one. Oh no,
I'll check that out, man.
We got.
I'm curious to check out the artist. Because you compared his style to Bryce's style.
Did you grab the book, Ronnie?
Oh, here, let me get it really fast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a guy called. I think it's Suk. Is it Suk? It sounds like it might be that guy. But there was a big delay between the first arc and the second arc. I don't know if it's because it turned people off too much because it was such a departure from like what Sabrina's known for, like that fun YA type book, you know, where it's totally mature adult. Like, I don't even know if you'd want a 13-year-old reading that book. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Oh, I did a quick internet search on the list. Robert Hack as the artist.
Hack. That's it. Hack. That's it. Robert Hack. So if you pick that up, if you can find it, it should be pretty easy to find. I think it was a pretty common, like Archie stuff. You must be able to find the trade somewhere, or even I think you get it digitally pretty cheap on any like platform where you can read digital comics like Kindle, or I don't know if Global has Archie comics on it, but I mean, I'm sure you could find it anywhere if you just to look at the art if you're not really interested in reading it. Yeah.
I'm mildly curious. The way you describe it sounds like it's pretty fucked up. So I'm check out for this.
I definitely, anyone that like, yeah, I recommend it. It's twisted. It's got a twisted story. It
says here that they made a TV adaptation of it too.
Yeah, well, the TV adaptation is a little like it's the Netflix one.
Yeah,
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same name as. What's that?
Did they tame it down from the book?
Yeah,
a little bit. It's still pretty dark, but nowhere near as dark as the
Robert Hack is the artist on it, Joe.
Yeah, Robert Hack. Yeah.
And Roberto Aguirre Sacasca wrote it. It's got this really kind of dreary cover. Anyways, like it's just red with her like kind of a shadow walking with the in her cheerleader outfit. It kind of gives off an eerie vibe, but like not what you would expect when you read the actual movie, man.
He's the same guy that wrote Afterlife with Archie.
Okay.
The same writer.
Okay.
Same writer. Okay, yeah, that tracks. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like this dude's on his work.
Oh yeah, they picked the artist perfect for that story too. It just really like it was already dark and twisted, but with that art, it just brings it to another level. You know, like really, yeah, really like makes it heavy, and the dread is there, and you're like, it really gives you that off-putting like feeling. So it's really effective. Like anyone's looking for something to read for a comic for Halloween or whatever, like I always say that's a good one.
And it's got a proper really freaky and proper version of demonology in it. Like the Satanism is pretty on point. You know what I mean? It's not like a goofy version of it. Like they actually like have some real witchcraft type stuff in there, like the old horrific shit. So.
Yeah, it actually adds legitimacy to Sabrina being a witch. And the family and her
That's
aunts.
kind of how I felt about
Her aunts are horrible in it. Yeah, it's almost like
her
they're
witches too, right?
They're witches too, and they're evil. They're evil. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
That's
Johnny,
kind of how I feel about Art Afterlife with Archie. Like it's a perfect Halloween book. Francisco Francovilla's art is that book taught me a lot about coloring and composition. Actually, just looking at Francisco Francovilla's art in Afterlife with Archie, you know, you could learn. Any artist could learn a lot about just composition, visual storytelling, and the use of color. Just from looking at that book. He is so next level with it.
He's good. Yeah, he's really
good.
Good.
I wanted him to be in Pulp Oddities, and I did reach out to him. Like I did try to swing big. I did try to swing big with some of the guys I wanted, and you know, I knowing full well that I might not even be on the radar, and you know, I ended up with the talent that I got. I obviously did not get Francisco Francovilla. I reached out to Cullen Bunn, and he actually replied to me. He was gracious enough to acknowledge me, but he was just like, you know, sorry, I can't, other obligations, but your project looks cool. And I was like, okay, well, you know, it's good enough for me. At least he acknowledged me and said,
Bunn's, I got 40 other books coming out this month, so I'm a little busy. Like Colin Bunn. The amount of work that he's putting out, like constantly, man. Like he's bucking for early retirement, straight up. I'm gonna burn bright for a decade, and then like I'm gonna have enough money to just chill.
Yeah.
I hope it works out for him, man. Man, Six Gun is so good. I love that series so much. That
was his first. That's the first time I saw him. Like, and
same. That was my introduction to Cullen Bunn. It was just so top notch.
And then there's the one last story. I really love this. I love punny stuff. So the hard-boiled detective with the egg guy, and like he bit the head off the bacon guy, and he had the cheese grater on the cheese guy, and the guy, it's going.
He held the salt shaker guy upside down for a shakedown.
Yeah,
super
funny, but
yeah. The secret to that is like all the characters are dead serious in their delivery. You know, they're like unaware of their puns. They're like he's totally earnest in his delivery. And then I don't know. For some reason, I thought it'd be funny to make a girl she's not really a femme fatale in the story, but she's the damsel in distress that hires him to save her husband. And she's a stack of pancakes, and I just thought it'd be funny if he made an offhand comment later on that, like, you know, she's stacked. Like that.
Don't get your batter all shaked up, or what? Don't
get your batter a bunch. Yeah. That one was a lot of fun. That one started out as an office sketch. I used to work as a corporate student in a corporate office, and I drew an egg slapping the shit out of someone, and my coworkers thought it was funny. And I thought, what if I made him a hard-boiled detective? And I actually, it's kind of funny. We had some shirts made up just as a test, and these are the shirts we were wearing when we went to ASCAP to try and recruit new artists. Actually, okay, yeah. I actually have them right here.
Cool.
I made one in this colorway, and then we made a second one too. So only these two shirts exist. There's no other shirt. You can't buy them right now. I don't know if I'll make new ones or not. But we did this as just kind of a test to see, you know. And also, we wore them around at the ASCAP, and people were really responsive to it. They liked the idea of a hard-boiled detective. And then it just kind of turned into a story from there. I hired a previous writer to write a script, but I didn't like it. So I paid him and just shoved the script that I'm never going to use. And I found another writer. This is when I had to look far and wide to find a writer. And at first, I was going to have Bobby Deluxe, the guy who wrote the Vampire Detective from Outer Space. He made a couple pitches for this. But I felt his pitches were more suited to the world of the Vampire Detective instead. Okay. And I met this a Canadian fellow on Reddit named Dino Caruso, who had already written a bunch of short comics. and just has just a real experienced guy in terms of anthologies and comics and stuff like that, and really nice guy, good sense of humor. So he turned in a script, and then Maximel, the guy that drew it, he'd been on my radar for a long time, and I don't know that much about Maxim. I recently learned that he is a German-born guy living in Siberia, and he would like to one day leave Siberia. He also plays guitar. Super nice guy, but I always admired his inks, just because he was a traditional inker. And I saw some pages he did that looked so perfect. It looked like it was in the Disney house style of those old Disney comics from back in the day, where just everything is very emotive and perfectly drawn and stylistic. So he has that look to him. And with the Egg comic, he's the guy that I wanted to draw the Hardboiled Detective, but he went digital for this one, so it looks a little different than his normal style. But I think he really dialed it in. He really got the look that I wanted for it.
Yeah,
and just a cool guy, easy to work with. Dino was also pretty easy to work with. Actually, a pretty solid team. So yeah, that one came together pretty nicely.
Yeah,
and once I found the right team, that is, like I said,
yeah,
I had
like the style, you said, the style for the art is perfect. Everything, yeah, it's.
And the story's hilarious, man. I don't take DVD cases anymore. And like the whole motivation of the bad guy, like the pristine pirated copies of movies,
Yeah.
Great motivation, man.
Yeah, he's a purist. Bitrate Bob, he's a purist. He loves his bootleg DVDs to be as close to perfect as possible. He won't accept any blemishes or any inferior.
Happy
that was a lot of fun to do. Is that all the stories? Man, did we touch on everything?
Those are the ones you sent us. Like you said, there was maybe a couple that you hadn't sent. So, but you touched on those too a little bit.
Yeah, and I didn't grab anything from the text-based ones just because I don't know, they don't pop. I just kind of grabbed an edge from each. And a couple of the ads that I like I love the Liminal Spaces one because Liminal Spaces is one of my favorite types of art. You know what I mean? Like I love that creepiness. They're just so amazing.
I could hear the Living Spaces ad jingle in my head every time I look at that.
Yeah.
That's those ads are a lot of fun to make. There is so Reishi has two 3-page comics, one where he fights Anoni and the other one where he tries to help like the spirit of an angry girl who is wronged.
Yeah.
But in between them is a Playboy style article. So remember, Playboy used to do these prestigious interviews, and if with like the Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos's and or like I think Sean Connery back in the day. If you were like a big influential person who was influential in the culture, and you knew you made it big if Playboy had an interview with you. And they always had that free column layout and everything like that, and then they would interrupt the flow with whole quotes and weird third page ads and stuff like that. So I do have a feature that's like that in there, and it interviews ostensibly with the creator of Reishi, a Japanese fellow named Miyagawa Masato, or Masato Miyagawa if you want to order his name the American way, whatever. But he's basically like the Steve Jobs of androids, and he's the guy that developed the technology that could legitimately detect spirits. So in this article, they're asking him hey, you were the laughingstock of the scientific community until this lab in Norway replicated your experiments and validated you and this big thing. Tell us about that. And that one gets a little more heady, and it's more for the intellectuals that want to explore kind of the ethical and scientific implications of a robot like Reishi existing.
Yeah.
And
for people that read Pulp It's for people that read Pulp Oddities for the interviews. Like that the old joke about Playboy magazine. I only read it for the interviews. Yeah.
Yeah. There is I did put for the interviews. So speaking of the Lady Midday thing that we talked about earlier, that was like a Playboy profile type parody. There is she is the centerfold of Pulp Oddities, but it's not what anyone is going to expect. So if you're expecting like a something that's totally tasteless, it's like, no, this is going to be. I have a little bit of a twist of how I'm going to do this centerfold, so it's not totally pervy or anything like that. It's more like just kind of like you'll look at it and be like, what the fuck? That's kind of macabre, but okay, I get it. But so we're doing a Lady Midday parody centerfold type thing that ties into that profile sheet where she talks about how she loves horror movies, but also Ryan Gosling. So I think that's we talked about detectives. Oh yeah, there's one other story, but that's the one that I mentioned earlier that's not done yet. That Austin is secretly working on, and it ties into my pharmaceutical ads. I have throughout Pulp Oddities several pharmaceutical ads that are parodies.
There was one that was included with ours. I saw, the older couple, the
hexadextrin. And the more you see these ads, like as it goes on, each ad has a bigger and bigger list of possible side effects taking up space on the ad. Until you get to the final medical ad where it's like a full page ad. It has this elderly couple playing tennis, and the list of side effects takes up like the whole bottom third of the page. And so the closing comic kind of ties into that. It's called Side Defects. It's body horror, and it's just gonna illustrate like, okay, these are some of the possible side effects that happen. Like we're gonna just visualize it, just someone like somebody like going through a body, this grotesque body horror experience because they took too much of a medication that has some risk associated. It's not kind of funny.
And so the book is completely funded, so you don't got to worry about that. You don't got to worry, and like it's already cleared 2 stretch goals. You said so. Like if people back out, what are they going to be getting if they back physical or digital? Because you kind of got one for each.
Yes, sir. So we have digital tier. Unfortunately, isn't going to get very much in the way of stretch goals, but we did unlock digital wallpaper for both your phone and desktop devices, and that's the RL Black cover. And I was actually thinking about releasing digital wallpaper of the James Edward Clark version as well, but we'll see how the campaign goes. And then one thing, and that's available to all tiers. So if you backed physical or digital, you're still getting the wallpaper. I think if I remember correctly, all the physical tiers get digital as well. For physical tiers, the first stretch goal that we unlocked that was physical only is everyone's getting a reishi bookmark and a reishi art print based on the really cool looking reishi ad that I designed and was drawn by Yuki Yuriarwan. So we have a print and a bookmark, and then at the next stretch goal, which I think we're like just a little bit over $100 away from, like $109, $107 away from the next stretch goal. When we hit that stretch goal, basically everyone who backed a physical tier is getting a pack of trading cards. Trading cards. And I was going to do like, I think I'm going to do 8. I already have the template created and half of them created. I just have to decide who the next 4 characters are going to be.
Okay, cool. And your Kickstarter launched last week, so you have 21 days left to the Kickstarter. So you're already funded, so that's great. So you still have a good stretch. You got 2/3 of the campaign left to go. So so you should hit that next stretch goal pretty easily. And who knows how far you can get with the funding on this.
Yeah, I funded on day one within the first 7 hours, which was a pleasant surprise. Like I knew that the book was going to fund, but I didn't think it was going to fund that quickly. So that was a nice surprise. I actually took the day off of work so I could stay home on launch day and not be neurotically checking it while I'm supposed to be working. So I stayed home from work to promote that and get it off the ground. And my wife and I were just compulsively checking it. And then we're like, it's funded. It's 7 hours in. Woo! Yeah. So, and I knew prior to it funding, like, it was already making really great strides. I was like, probably about 4 hours in, I'm like, oh my God, I think we're going to fund same day. Like, I think this is possible. And then it happened. I was like, okay, here we are. All Kickstarter campaigns go through this thing, and this is where I'm at right now, where they plateau. So they have a really sharp rise, like in the beginning. It's like boom, and then we're kind of at this plateau. We're in the weird middle of it, and we can have like maybe 1 or 2 new backers trickle in a day. All the last 2 days have been pretty dead, and then at the end, in the last few days, it's probably gonna like pick up again.
Yeah, the last 48 are pretty big too. The first 48 and the last 48 are your 2 big spikes, and then depending on what happens in the middle, it varies from campaign to campaign.
Yeah, so I'm just I'm not going to stress it too badly. I would love to reach that next stretch goal, send everyone out some playing cards, but I'm not going to stress it too badly if it stays plateaued for a while. I know a lot of people in my comic creator support group get a little antsy when there's kind of plateau on. They're like, well, what else can I do? Whoa. And I'm just like, dude, I'm not going to stress myself out. I got enough things in life to stress out about. I'm happy that it's funded. I'm grateful for what I got. And I know that more people are going to trickle in at least towards the end, if not in the middle. So it's just like
our friend Richard says, like, if you get your people that backed to comment on it, like it pushes your visibility or something,
like the algorithm within the Kickstarter site, so it might pop up more randomly on people's, like when they're just doing random searches for comics. Like
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, maybe I'll provoke some conversation or have some polls or something. I was actually thinking about doing a poll just to see like what stories or what characters people were most excited about, because there's a lot to choose from.
Oh, it's going to be hard to pick since we got to read like a sample of it, man. Like I don't know if I could participate in that poll. I wouldn't know what to do.
Well,
I don't know.
The top
Vampire Detective's up there, man. He's definitely
nice.
Up there. So yeah, I like him. Who else? I don't know. Like Johnny said, they're all pretty good.
I like Rishi a lot. I like WTF. I like Rishi. Yeah. Or am I saying it wrong? Rishi. And
no, it's Rishi.
Like what's her name? I keep forgetting her name. Plum. The skeleton one there.
We just call her Lady Midday. Because, I mean, in mythology, she has several names. She goes by Lady Midday, or the Noon Witch, or the Polonista.
Yeah, she's up there too. Like, it'd be a battle of the juggernauts between her and the space vampire detective or whatever. Yeah,
that's right. Because those are like the 2 main people on the player select poster. The poster that you can buy as an add-on.
Okay.
You haven't moved through that. It looks like a video game screen where you can select your
Oh yes, yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So those 2 for sure. Because I love the design of her. Like it's just great. Like your image that you did with the lollipop. I mean, just it's awesome. Like I mean, just visually great design. So yeah, so it'd be those 2. Like in the. I like just the pulpiness, like the noir pulpiness of the vampire guy too. Just the character, like kind of that old 50s, like PI, going around trying to solve stuff, and
fall in love with the dame.
Yeah, the dame. Yeah, that's it. So I don't know. It's cool.
Oh yeah, she's got a twist too. Actually, the girl in red. There's a twist about her. There's a little bit of a twist at the end that Bobby threw in for good measure.
Yeah, well, his robot hat gives it away, like, because when he's analyzing, talking about the girl, he kind of says, almost like you, or kind of like you. So I'm thinking she would have handled. She's probably purposely going into the alleyway to lure the guy, knowing he was stalking her, so she could feast on him. I was assuming,
It could be. There could be other motivations too, because I mean. You got to think like she's probably aware of both of those dudes being
what
there.
Is it in folklore, like a siren? When they scream, she sings. So maybe she has like some kind of vocal hypnotic thing too that she can. I don't know. I mean, maybe it doesn't work. That's true. Maybe it doesn't work on the vampire. Maybe he is just hypnotized by her singing in the club, because he was sitting in the club with the vampire. If you look at the panels earlier on, so the power of suggestion through
it gets pretty interesting, man. And also, I mean, one of the things I love about the vampire detective is he's a vampire, but he's got a space helmet on. How's he supposed to bite people?
Yeah.
That's what makes for awkward comedy, like when he gets triggered and he's like, he gets the bloodlust and can't help himself, and he tries to bite someone through the helmet. You know, like I feel like that's gonna be like the perfect running gag for his character. Like anytime I do a vampire detective story, that's gotta happen. Just like, oh yeah, oh geez, sorry.
Good.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get the full book. And this is going to be a big guy too. It's 112 pages, you said, counting the covers. So
yeah, 112 pages right now. There is a chance it could go up 4 pages, but I'm not 100% yet. We'll see how. We'll see if the layout calls for it or not. But right now, as it stands, it's 112 pages, and I'm not taking any out.
and it's an exciting project, man. So good luck on the rest of it. Like honestly,
Thank you, man. Yeah, I appreciate the support, you guys. I was really thrilled when I saw you guys on the backlist. I was like, man, those guys are solid. Those are stand-up guys right there. But I definitely appreciate the support and the shout-outs that you guys have given me about this project. Actually, a funny story. You guys are kind of
yeah. Yeah, I read
the
the editor's notes or whatever. You gave us a shout out. Yeah, so we appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the very first show I did with you guys. We were supporting the Vein #1. I was on here with my buddy David, and because it's David's project, and you know, I forget how it came up. I had offhand mentioned that I had always wanted to do an anthology, but I didn't really think that people would be into it. And you guys were like, "Are you kidding? Anthologies are great. You should do it. Go do it." And I was like, "Oh, well, okay. You know, if they're going to be enablers about it, maybe I will." And so I went and did it.
They're usually really popular on Kickstarter too. Like some of them are, and then some of them just kind of lag. Like there's a guy that I like that has one, and he's kind of having a hard time funding. But I don't know. This is kind of more like one of the anthologies we were talking about, though. Whereas yours, like I don't know, it's really exciting the people you have working on it, and I think you kind of have a rep. You know what I mean, a little bit now with all the different comic book creators you're hanging out with and stuff. So and I know everybody we kind of bring you up to like knows you and like really respects you. So
really,
yeah, we were talking.
It's surprising.
Yeah,
I mean, who were you talking?
Was it GM Brandt?
Yeah, JM Brand, and then we talked to Brandon DePillis and Nate Price, and they both
Nate Price, yeah,
really
and Brandon DePillis, yeah.
Shit, thanks for the shout out, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, I see JM Brand all the time on Instagram. He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, man. Yeah, we've had him on twice now too. Yeah. Yeah, he likes horror stuff, so I mean, it's anything horror is probably in his wheelhouse. So that's probably why he's. Because I know you did those mini comics too. There after, I think while you're probably putting this thing together, you had a few little mini comics there that you put together.
Just the one
after the Vein. Yeah, after the Vein there, you put that out. Yeah, exactly. That's the one. Yeah, Brains. Yeah.
And this is also an add-on, by the way. I can't believe I forgot to mention, but Brains is also an add-on on.
There you go.
On the Pulp Oddities campaign. Awesome. It's just a humble little. Like this zombie goes to brain surgery center. He demands brains, but the brain surgeons aren't really feeling it. They're like, "Nah, bro." Right? But you know, you realize like, well, the zombie and the brain surgeons both have a lot in common. They're both brain enthusiasts, and you know they're both just really into brains. So at some point, you know they're gonna have to get along, or someone's gonna get their brain. I do want to shout out a couple other people that did help me with Pulp Oddities. I always shout out the artists and the writers, but I need to give a shout out to a guy named Aaron Down who helped me edit most of the stories. He's a good editor. He had his own. He was doing indie comics back in the day, but I think he's kind of over comics and focusing more on his prose stuff and also his music. And he's a good singer, and his prose is really good. But he did take the time to help me with editing the stories and you know, spotting little details and helping me keep everything totally consistent and stuff. And the other person shout out is my wife Kalila Fink, who also worked as a story editor. but only on the horror-oriented stories because she's really into horror. It's not like she consulted me on the egg story or anything like that. Horror is
Yeah.
so. She was the influence on helping me write the Lugaroo and edit that story and the Lady Killer story and things like that. And she also flatted some of the stories too to save me some time because flatting can be very tedious as a colorist.
Mhm.
So she didn't flat every story, but she did flat. I know she flatted the Lugaroo story, the Gruffs, the Hard-Boiled Detective, and Moonlat, and I think one or two other things for me.
Cool.
I think she flatted some of Vampire Detective too. So that really helped me out as a colorist, having her come in and do flats on some of the stories. So yeah, there's that.
Nice. Before we log off, do you have anything you want to plug? Like, do you have any conventions coming up maybe before Christmas or after going into 2026? Do you have anything planned or anything you'd like to do? Shows, signings, or anything like that? Do you have any plans for anything?
Not as of now.
No.
Tabling is expensive.
Yeah.
And
so you want to make sure you have enough stuff to.
Yeah. So before I did co-table with David once because he, David's based in California and he came out to Arizona to table at the Arizona Comic Arts Festival, the actual show, not pop-up. And that was a lot of fun. He invited me to come over and co-table with him and help him out. And we were conveniently close to our buddies Kevin Loop and Austin Ackert too, so that was really nice. And that was a fun experience. But even though Dave came with a lot of stuff, like I didn't really ask him, but I don't think he made his full money back. But I don't think he was planning to either. I think he was doing it more just to get the experience.
Yeah.
But tabling is expensive. Guys like Jeb and Austin have been doing it for a long time, so like they know how to do it. They have all they have all their equipment. They have a lot of stuff that they've already made. So I actually kind of look up to those guys in that regard, and I'd like to get there. But right now, I don't feel like I have enough stuff to table and make it to even break even. But I'd like to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for now the main focus is just going to be getting Pulp Oddities. Oh God, I can talk. Sorry, Pulp Oddities. The focus will be on getting Pulp Oddities wrapped up and printed and sent out to everybody, along with any add-ons and any Snorkel Dork add-ons that people may have ordered as well. And then after that, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do next. I think what I'm going to do is probably just wait for feedback and see what characters people resonate with the most, and then decide if I want to do another Pulp Oddities or if I want to focus on a specific project.
Just a little spin-off from a character from the Pulp Oddities.
Yeah, so like if people are super excited about the Vampire Detective, for example, and that's what the people demand, then maybe we'll focus on that. Or if people want more Space Attorney, maybe we'll focus on that. It just kind of depends. But I think I'm gonna just kind of like stick my finger and test the air real quick and see what happens. There's actually another anthology I wanted to make after this, but it's a bit ambitious and might not cross over with this audience, because it would be basically a martial arts anthology. It would be nothing but about martial arts and combat sports. It would be for MMA nerds, like people that I know from the gym that love, that compete in jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. So it would be less fantastic and more, more oriented towards a niche. So I don't know if that would alienate the people that follow Pulp Oddities or not, or if there's enough crossover that they would be interested in that. I'm actually really on the fence about doing that, but I kind of want to, though, even though I'm on the fence about it.
We got to get you in contact with our boy Gorka. He's a French cartoonist, and he's big into
grappling. Jiu-jitsu.
Nice, dude. Yeah. I'd love to talk to him, because if I do an anthology like that, I want all the contributors to at least have some knowledge of that stuff. You know what I mean? So it looks authentic. One thing that's always irritated me about comics and TV shows is when the fight scenes look hokey or false. And I understand it's difficult to depict like correct martial arts in a comic because you have limited page space that you're dealing with. But I've seen some Japanese manga that pull it off. And if they, I feel like if they can pull it off, then there's a way that we can pull it off too. There's actually some good manga out there about it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's one about like this girl who's tall for her age and naturally good at every sport she tries, and she's getting, she's kind of blah. She thinks everyone's beneath her, and then she meets like a girl that's smaller than her that does MMA. And, she's like, "Wait, what?" And it's kind of about her maturing and discovering the sport, and kind of finding herself through it. And then there's this other girl that's the main character who's smaller and already well versed in it, but she's a lot more controlled and happy and focused. I can't think of the name of it. I don't even remember the author who writes it is really reclusive. I think it's his only work. But the way he visually depicts the techniques is really good.
Really well done, yeah.
Yeah. So I would want to basically study that, but also like figure out how I can do it in my style or whatever the style is of the artists that I work with.
Yeah.
You gotta dedicate the panel space to it, man. Like otherwise, it's just I'll be jammed into like one splash, and that's fine and all. But like there are a couple comics that Joe and I really like. There's Joyama. I forget the British guy who lives in Japan. He does really cool like American manga type thing. And then there's Kings of Nowhere, which is kind of an American manga too, but it's about like animal people. And but like they devote so much time to the action scenes and so many pages, and I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like as a fan of fighting and stuff, like I appreciate that. And like I think if you want to do a kung fu comic, that might be a better way to go than just trying to like cram all the action into like a page. I get the people's restrictions to traditional comic book standards, but like since you kind of like work outside of traditional comic books, like I don't you do a 48 pager, you know what I mean? Charge 20 bucks for it.
Well, you bring up a really good point. And if I did do a combat sports anthology like that, I would probably be fewer stories with more pages per story. I think in Pulp Oddities, the shorter stories are like 2 to 3 pages, and the long stories are 7 pages on average. You have like long stories cap out around 5 or 6 pages. And there's a lot of stories. If I was to do something like this, it'd be more like each story gets like, I don't know, 12 to 20 pages, and there's fewer stories, and they're more hyper focused on a specific aspect.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right on. I'm super
there's an audience
that you mentioned. That if you could, I have a humble request of you. You mentioned some books just now. Like if you can send me some links or just send me like the names of the artists, I'd be more than happy to look into those.
Yeah, for sure.
The King of Nowhere guy just did an animated thing for it. It just hit Kickstarter or YouTube a little while ago. Like we can do that. And Joe's got both of the.
Well, we could talk once we get off the air. There, we'll send you all the links. We'll hook you up.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to talk to your French grappling buddy. He seems like he's of a similar cloth. Liking both comics and grappling.
He designed his own gi out of tarp. Blue tarp.
That's cool.
It was funny. You follow him on Instagram. He has all that stuff, and he's into metal and all that shit. He's a really
cool guy. Yeah, he's a G, man. We like Gorka a lot.
Yeah, he's fun.
Oh, yeah, dude. He sounds like a cool dude. I'm into metal too. I saw a video recently where someone made a gi out of bubble wrap, and it was like that's funny. That's funny. That's taking it to another level.
Before we log out, before we sign off, I just want to remind people, because I don't think we said it, the link is in the descriptions and it's in the chats. So anyone watching, you could go hit the link to go to the Kickstarter to back this book. It's a really fun book. Some really cool stories. You got a little bit of horror, some sci-fi, a couple little superhero stories with a fun little twist. You got a noir detective story. You got
two noir detective stories.
Well, one's more of a funny kind of, like you said, punny one, and the other one's more of like a noir sci-fi kind of vibe, horror. It's kind of got a little
Yeah.
mix of the 3 genres to it, so it's really fun. Yeah, so you
All
have
the
a good,
pulp, yeah.
yeah,
All the pulp.
you got a good mix of stories here, and they're all really fun stories. Yeah, you got supernatural, you got the horror, you got the werewolf one too, which is a kind of a
Stoner.
urban stoner horror kind of vibe to it, which is really funny as well.
Of a stoner body vibe to it for
Yeah. So you get a lot of great
partially
little
inspired
stories.
by
Yeah, you
that
got the
one's
snorkel.
partially inspired by how Method Man and Redman met.
Yeah. So you got that. Some great stuff. You got the mix of the techno and horror with the Rishi, the story with the robot there that tries to help supernatural beings.
Crossover, yeah.
Yeah. So you have that. It's a fun mix. It's a really fun mix. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed the preview.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, we already had a little taste with the Space Attorney, so we already had a little taste of the vibe, that it would probably be in. So yeah, it didn't disappoint. Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, I can't wait for you guys to get it in your hands and see the full thing.
Yeah.
Should
be awesome.
We're gonna be taking a couple days off, actually, to tell you the truth, but we'll be back on Wednesday. We're going to be talking to Jonathan Chance. We're going to be talking about his anthology. I believe it's an anthology, right? Never by Night.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Never by Night.
Volume 2.
Volume 2. Yeah.
That's his second volume. He's trying to put one out every spooky season. That's his plan.
Nice.
British fella. We've never actually talked to him about his comics. We had him on once, but we talked about critters and ghoulies.
We had him on for a Halloween episode. Yeah. Well, we talked about his comic a little bit when we introduced him, and then we did the movie stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, that should be fun. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yeah. So it's outro time.